Bow before Maliketh, the Black Blade.
Hey guys, Thing Fishy here with a full in-depth guide on how to fight Maliketh. Now, this fight is really tough. In fact, for me, it might be one of the toughest in the game. Learning the Beast Clergyman part of this fight probably took me more time than any other boss in the game besides Malenia. And while learning the Maliketh part took far less time, shout out to those of you who kept me sane on my Twitch channel for the 3 hours that it did take, Maliketh is infinitely harder when you arrive at his portion of the fight, drenched in sweat, with shaking hands and 2 heals left after fighting Beast for 3 minutes. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to fight and dodge Beast Clergyman if you want to fight him straight up, but also how to completely stunlock him to death so you can arrive at the Maliketh fight relaxed and with all of your heals, so you stand the best chance of actually being able to learn it. Then I'm going to show you all the dodge timings for Maliketh, including a very specific pattern for dodging this terrifying attack. Then, of course, I'll show you how to parry him using the Blasphemous Claw tool. Right, let's get to it. So the biggest mistake you can make with Beast Clergyman is to be too aggressive and be too close to him. Beast Clergyman is incredibly quick and has some devastating combos to punish you for being too close. I'd recommend trying to maintain this kind of distance to him throughout the fight. So first off, let's talk about the easiest attack in this fight, his dragging sweep. There's 2 different ways to deal with this attack. The first is to roll into it and start attacking him from underneath. The second is to run round to his back left and start attacking him there. The best approach will depend on your position when he starts the attack, but this is the biggest opportunity to inflict damage over the whole fight. So every time you see this attack, you want to take full advantage of it. Next up, we have his super common throwing attacks. Now, both of these provide a small window to punish. The best way I've found to do it is dodge the throw, then do a jumping R2. This will work with any weapon, and the jumping R2 is the best option for most builds in terms of speed, damage, and posture damage. Both throws can be avoided by rolling at the highest point in his wind-up, then go for your jumping R2. You can also do a similar thing for both of his Beast Claw attacks. When you see him start them, run in for a jumping R2 to both dodge and punish. For the forward Beast Claw, you want to jump here as his head moves forward. And for Gronk's Beast Claw, you want to jump here when you first see that orange glow on his face. Now, if you're like me and you find this fight completely panic-inducing and want a consistent method for it, these are the only attacks you should try to punish. While it's possible to punish other attacks if you have lizard-like reflexes, punishing these attacks are fairly consistent, safe, and relatively easy once you have the timings down. Run away from the ground explosion and meteor attack, and simply roll backwards to avoid both the 1-2 swipe and its 1-2-3 alternative. Now, for me, even though Beast doesn't have that much health, this first phase of the fight alone is more than complicated enough to be worthy of being a full Elden Ring boss in itself. However, when you defeat Beast Clergyman, you're only halfway to victory, and for most people, the most difficult part is still ahead. So suppose you wanted to have the easiest possible time with Beast Clergyman so you can get him out the way and start getting to grips with the awesome but incredibly tough Maliketh fight. Well, here's how to do it. On my right hand, I equip any normal smithing stone weapon with the Flame of the Redmane's Ash of War. You can get this from an invisible scarab just by the Fort Gale Site of Grace. In my left hand, I equip my main weapon. Flame of the Redmane's inflicts massive posture damage, and 2 hits of it in quick succession will stun Clergyman, allowing for a critical hit. So I walk into the fight, hit Beast with 2 Flame of the Redmanes in quick succession. The safest play here is to wait for that dragging sweep attack, but if you're impatient, just wait until he is in a recovery animation before casting. When you've hit him with 2, he'll stagger. At this point, 2-hand your left hand weapon and riposte. As soon as you finish the riposte, hit him again with another 2 flames and repeat the process. So from here, as long as you don't mess up your inputs, the beast part of the fight is over. So if you want to be fully prepared for the Maliketh fight, use the first stagger to heal before you riposte if you've been hit, and the second stagger to recover your FP. After the second riposte, use your highest damage attack to finish off phase 1. Now for Maliketh. Now, if the Redmane strat is new to you, you might be thinking, will that work on the big man? And the answer is theoretically yes. But after nearly an hour of trying to do this strat on my live stream for a future guide, I actually came to the conclusion that it's probably easier just to fight him normally. Because of how quick Maliketh is, trying to get 2 Redmanes on him in quick succession is far more likely to get you killed rather than making this fight any easier. So we're going to start off by talking about dodging his attacks, and the first thing you need to be prepared for here is either of the 2 openings you're going to get. The first sweep attack is scripted and easily dodgeable by just sprinting towards him as soon as the fight starts. At this point, he's either going to throw 2 slow swings, which you can dodge by rolling here when his sword is at the top of its swing, and here on the second as he starts his downswing, or this far scarier fast double swing. For this attack, you want to roll twice with no gaps between the rolls, starting here when you see his body begin to straighten out. Now for this spinning vertical attack, which means immediate death if you fail to dodge it. You want to strafe to the side and then roll twice to avoid this one. This is probably the hardest attack to dodge, as there isn't really any clear cues for when to roll, but after you've done this a few times, you will get the hang of it. Until then, expect this one to be the one that you die to the most. Then we get to by far the scariest attack in phase 2, his jumping destined death attack. Now, this feels impossible to dodge at first, but the strategy that I eventually figured out is this. As he lands for the first jump, you want to roll 4 times, once backwards and then 3 times to the right with no distance between any of these rolls to avoid the destined death AoE. That's 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Looking back on this footage, you might be able to replace the 3 o'clock rolls with simply running, but I didn't test this. And finally, for the parryable attacks. To my knowledge, Maliketh has 3 attacks that are parryable with the Blasphemous Claw item that you get from defeating Invader Barnal. If you are not confident enough to parry him, all these attacks can be dodged instead with the same timings as the parries. The most common of these, and the one you really need to learn, is his flying 4-hit combo. This starts with 3 ranged attacks before Maliketh descends with a devastating 360-degree swing. This will one-shot players even from full health. Now, unlike pretty much every other attack that we've covered in this series, this is an attack that you must learn the rhythm of. This is because he will often start it from behind one of the arena's pillars, meaning that for the first time, you will have to parry or dodge the final attack without actually being able to see it. The parry timing, fortunately, is quite forgiving, so I actually got in the habit of counting the attacks out loud and parrying or dodging the attacks on 4.
3, 4. Yeah.
You want to dodge the first 2 attacks like any other projectile as they head towards you. But the third, you want to actually dodge a little earlier on this. Don't worry too much about being roll caught, the hitbox is quite forgiving. But you're doing this so you're not still in the roll animation for that last attack. Now onto the jumping plunge attack. This will start with him jumping onto one of the pillars. Your input should be here as he's in mid-air. And finally, we have the flying plunge combo. This is a 3-hit combo with the 3rd hit being a parryable plunge. Dodge the 2 ranged attacks, then parry here when his sword is at its highest point. All 3 of these parries result in the same stagger animation from Maliketh. You want to run in super close to him and do your best DPS attack for your build. And that's it, how to fight Maliketh. As I said earlier, this is a super tough fight and it can really get your heart racing. I do also think though that it's one of the best fights Fromsoftware have ever created. I adore this boss. I hope you found this guide useful. As always, thanks for watching. See you soon.
Witless tarnished. Why covered destined death? To kill what?